Welcome to another stream, which today is going to be the making of you know uh confinement season 2 episode 4. And luckily I was prepared today and already wrote up the post, so I can post it immediately. Bam, efficiency. I don't know why I didn't think of that like earlier, but whatever. It's whatever. You know, things will get done as they're needed to. I don't know if Sky will join me later or not. I don't know. He's currently doing his character, which I realized something like recently that his character's, a dark elf in Oblivion. Obviously not in the, real life, whatever you call real, but the RP universe, he's a chiss. I believe I'm saying that correctly. Same race as Thorn, well, half chiss. Half human, half chiss, but yeah. But yeah. But yeah, he's doing his thing. And yeah, I'm going to be doing another one of my making ofs. Seeing that if I am going to be streaming with Sky tomorrow, I want to get this done so everything's, done and yeah. Also, like, yeah, just get things done out of the way and yeah. And also an our podcast today. So yeah. But yeah. But this making of will either go on 17th, 18th, one of those 2 days. Yeah, again, insane schedule. I've mentioned this many times before. And yeah. But once I do this, it'll be, smooth sailing, hopefully. Other than uni, but what can you do? But otherwise, once I do this, I'll be ready to, put like any of the free time that I get into it. So, and hopefully nothing else should be added because already, it's 3 uploads most days, except, every second day it's 4 uploads. Occasionally, 5, but that's because of the re-recording things, which if you don't know, Resident Evil 6 was a pain to stream on my old computer, but this new computer is, glorious, perfect, Giga Chad computer. Yeah, but yeah, well, maybe not a Giga Chad, but it's still like Giga Chad, like it's pretty good. Um, but yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, do. New trip here definitely has helped a lot. Maybe not that low quality. 360p should be fine. But yeah, let's just get into it and get started on this. But yeah, definitely nice to have, new technology, better technology, and it's also nice that soon I'll be up to date. And yeah, and like this recording right now will help out probably a little bit for later, so yeah. Anyway, let's begin this recording because with my schedule, yeah, it should be able to help out if I plan it all correctly. But yeah, let's begin. Welcome to the making of Confinement Season 2, Episode 4. Yeah, again, I'm making these so that I get feedback, so feedback is appreciated. Yeah, again, I'm not here to summarize the plot. I'm here to show my making of process, so if you want to watch the episode itself, please consider watching the original, like full video. But yeah, again, an hour is a lot of time. But yeah, this first like scene was pretty simple scene. Just Connor, and then Connor and Michael, and eventually the Dark One, Connor's demon, finally revealing itself a being of the living darkness. Yeah, and from my series technically, but also makes kind of sense with, with the old stuff, because I guess this is a time where I need to bring up the old stuff. I always use the Lord Bung re-upload channel and not my own re-uploads. I don't know why, but I guess it's just easiest to find them by just going here, where if I went to my channel I have to scroll for a while. So I guess this is just to save time. Anyway, for proof that's kind of living darkness like, is that the weird creature thing has like a bunch of like white eyes. It's also kind of a dark figure. And even there, it's like, darkness corrupting. And one of the things is like, in his mind, there's
Connor, I'm going to be straight.
There's an eye that like appears. And like the creature in the thing like
tame and boring.
has like multiple eyes.
I don't think you need to worry about a thing.
Yeah, like multiple eyes, like very much darkness, and not to mention in episode 1,
Get out.
Mr.
right
Connor,
near the
remember
end,
to
there's just straight up a living darkness being like it's so similar to the Living Darkness from, you know, my series. Like, if I just go to, like, any one of the devouring things. Alright, I'm like, where's a good point where it shows the goats? There must be a good shot that goes somewhere. It has to be somewhere, but this is why I wish I had my Living Darkness folder still, because it could show the Living Darkness, other cases of it. But yeah, I guess just the best example, you know, is that what was used in the episode. I mean, it is the same thing, basically. White eyes, you know. Each Living Darkness is a little bit different, but yeah, the core principle is still the same, so yeah, I was like, hey, it's close enough. I'll just say that, you know, even though it was nameless, a nameless entity in confinement, because yeah, again, Lord Bung didn't get that far to name it, that I'll be like, huh, perfect. I have my creation of the Living Darkness. I can just use that for confinement. So yeah, even though it's technically, you know, my creation, you know, from the many episodes, you know, where the Living Darkness has appeared, you know, it was able, you know, seamlessly, you know, be a part of, you know, confinement's thing, because it already looked like that was a creature of the Living Darkness. Seems like the Foundation actually did capture Living Darkness before. Michael thought he was the only one to. No, the old Foundation did it as well. He just didn't know. But yeah, a lot of the first like 30 odd minutes is just lore, like that there's not really any action in the first 30 minutes. It's just a lot of lore. But there's the fight stuff. The big old fight scene. Also, it doesn't show here, but I did get copyrighted this time for using a chainsaw blood. I guess it's just like that saying, first time, shame on you, so shame on them for you missed it. You missed the catching it by copyright, then shame on me for the second time. Which aptly enough, copyright time, so yeah. Funny enough. But yeah, and you're going, Connor, you want right. But yeah, I used the chainsaw blood thing to attack. but I won't play it all because, but yeah, again, it's, I guess, Connor's theme for his demon form that I'm using, even though only part of the scene is actually looking at Connor, but still wanted to use it. Although, no transformation sound for this one, the darkness sound that, because it was a jump cut in time, so I didn't use the sound, so yeah. Yeah, again, one of those creative choices where I choose not to use the, original sound mainly just because of a time jump, which I obviously did in episode 3, but obviously with episode 3 with, the death sound, like, I did use it earlier in the episode, but for this episode, the transformation sound wasn't used at all. But yeah, there's a big old battle that happens. It happens fairly quickly. The MTF just absolutely wrecked them. I don't think many of the MTF died. Like, it was just a slaughter. So yeah, it was kind of funny, but yeah, but then it's just them talking a bit. Then the first time in the series where it's a first person perspective. This is because one VR chat streaming camera for some reason is only able to be used in VR, which means I can't have, the camera just looking at me from like a distance for some reason, and it's kind of annoying. And two, like, it's from Michael's perspective, so since it's from Michael's perspective, it's more fitting that it's more in the line of my series than confinement, because confinement, it looks at the characters, not looks through the characters, if you know what I mean. Like, you look at the characters, but you never see through the characters' eyes in confinement, where in my series you're always almost, always looking through, Michael's eyes or Jimmy's eyes or one of the characters' eyes. It's always through their perspective. So yeah, it's always that perspective. So that's why it's used here, because it fits to my series, and also I literally did not have the option to do the alternative, because then I would have to get in VR, and that's kind of annoying when you have a goddamn Oculus Rift. And if you know anything about Oculus, or now they're called Meta or whatever, their VR sucks, because after like a year of owning it, the controllers will have drift. Universally, it's a universal problem. I don't believe anyone if they say that they don't have drift for their controllers. You probably haven't had it long enough to have drift, but it'll happen eventually. Sooner or later, it will happen. It is inevitable. The VR drift is real for Oculus, or I guess Meta now, but yeah. But yeah. So this is the first and currently only scene where it's from a different camera perspective. And also it's quite a long one because it's also lore related, but it returns back to normal perspective for the ending. And yeah. But yeah, that is the making of season 2 episode 4. Not as many gags, I guess. This one was a lot more of a serious episode, yeah, again. More of the gags and stuff were in, episode 3 and the confinement special. So yeah, they're the ones that had, the running gags. I mean, there was one of the running gags in episode 1 as well. No, it wasn't episode 1. It was episode 8. Yeah, episode 1 was the shift. So episode 1 was one of the serious ones. Episode 2 was less serious, but still a lot of talking, so not really any of the running gags in it. So yeah, the second episode, being the reunion, was fairly similar to episode 1 and didn't have any of, the running gags or jokes. So yeah. But yeah. So yeah. But yeah. So yeah, that's the making of this episode, which now I'm finally caught up for now. And yeah, I mean, obviously, on the 25th, there'll be the next one. But in terms of, yeah, again, I'm live streaming this. I don't know when I'll stream the next one because I've been going ham the last few days, working on all these at the same time. But now it's like I'm finally caught up. I can rest a bit before tackling the next one. But yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching, and until next time, peace to those watching the recording. Alright. Time for an owl podcast. I keep doing that. How do I always do that? If you don't know, for some reason I call it sometimes the Owl Podcast, like that, for some damn reason. Unfortunately, the last time I probably said that it was probably on a Twitch one. Oh my god. That can't be right, but could it? Now I have to check. Because I definitely did not say it with the Kim one. But yeah, when was that one? Welcome. 30th of July. When did I start? Streaming again. I think it was a bit earlier than the 30th. Oh. Yeah, it was June, but I definitely didn't say it with that one. I don't think I said with welcome to that one either. Because that was one of the Sky Slayer ones. Welcome to our podcast. But yeah, this may just be, yeah, looking at that, this may just be the first time I did that here on YouTube. Wow. And it's been like 2 months that I've been streaming here, so yeah, that's made me realize how much time has passed, and also like how long it's been since I've been on, Twitch, because yeah, again, I left Twitch. Yeah, again, it was due to like multiple little factors that just made me like, I don't want to be here anymore. I rather try streaming on YouTube for a while, and now I think I'm gonna stay here for, the foreseeable future, because it's just not worth the effort. Like it took forever just to get to 100, and my YouTube was starting to overtake it, so it was like well, it seems like my YouTube's going a lot better, and I always wanted to try streaming on YouTube, so I'll stream on YouTube, and here we are. Now I'm streaming here instead of Twitch, and yeah. Funny how things turn out. But yeah. But there's, yeah, again, the one thing I'll return to Twitch to do, which is my 3rd year anniversary stream, and it's because of a running gag that I need to finish. Like, it's been a running gag ever since my first anniversary stream, where I saw a cake in VR chat, in the world, the Great Pug. So on the cake, I noticed it was like a birthday cake or anniversary cake, and I noticed that that the cake number could have either been a 2 or a 3, but I thought it was a 2, because I counted the candles, but I didn't at the time notice the 3rd candle, but I counted the candles and stuff, and I thought it was a 2. It looked like it was supposed to form a 2, so I was like, this will be perfect for 2nd anniversary. So 1 year passes, obviously not without me doing anything. Obviously a lot of stuff happened in between my 1st anniversary and my 2nd one, but then on the 2nd anniversary, I look at the cake again, but this time more carefully. It's time to end the joke, and I count 1, 2, and I notice the 3rd candle. It's not on the cake, it's just to the side of the cake, which I probably should show the cake off. But that means I have to launch VR chat. I guess I'll show it I'll start launching VR chat, but I'll just keep talking about the story while I launch VR chat. But it's like the cake. I noticed it had 3 candles, and I was like, God damn, I was wrong. I was wrong 1 year ago, so that means I have to wait until the 3rd anniversary to finally use the cake. The cake is no longer alive. Like, it is truthfully the cake is a lie moment, because I lied to myself with that cake. That was a 2nd anniversary cake, to only find out it's a 3rd one. But yeah, let me switch over my thing to VR chat. But yeah, in that moment I was like, huh, the cake is, a lie. Actually, the easiest way would probably be, there we are. Now I just have to wait till but yeah, that was the moment where I'm like, damn, I have to finish the joke. So, since obviously I haven't been streaming on YouTube for 3 years, like, my 3rd anniversary overall for YouTube will be on April 8th, next year. But yeah, here's the cake. Oh, and it even has 2 off it. That's just insult to injury. This is just insult to injury. I thought only 1 of them was off. But I can't even pay attention to detail that 2 of the candles were off the cake. I guess this shows that I have poor attention, I guess, to detail. But yeah, here's the cake. So I thought, you could mistake that easily for a 2 instead of a 3. But, I'm kind of dumb. Not to count the candles. So yeah, I definitely lost an argument there with one of my friends. But I'll finally finish the fight when it comes to my 3rd anniversary. But that's still, like, I've still got to wait until, like, January, so, can't even finish a joke until, another few months later, just to be like, hey, the joke's over, I win. The cake is no longer a lion. That's the Freaks of Favonius thingy. Also, that's funny. It reminds me of like the Rousey smoking like a thing. Yeah. But there's all these like advertisements, so much in the VR chat community, and yet I don't even see, even a small bit of it. Like, I'm at, like the tip of the iceberg. Like, there's so many communities. But you always have your own community, so, like, obviously I'm not going to see every single community and, like, necessarily get along with every single one. Not like I, hate any groups. It's just like I probably will never be interested, in, some of the things. Um, like, like, I'm not really a what you would call a furry, so I'm not really would ever be a part of, the furry community or any other group. But yeah, time to exit VR chat. But yeah, that's the cake. That is the cake. The cake was indeed a lie. And I just couldn't realize it. I was lying to myself. I guess I should do my confinement one because I wanted to do an hour podcast talking about confinement, but since I began my series, I was like, I don't want to do it till I've like caught up, and now that I've caught up, I guess I can finally do it. So yeah. So even more confinement in this. I finally get to talk about, Lord Bung's confinement, but also, the progress of how I've been going. So yeah, maybe this is where I can, do that plot thing, do the idea I had in the makings of a recap of the plot. This would be an excellent thing to do. Oh yeah, that now I gotta do that. Okay, yeah. Alright, let's begin. Which I'm up to episode 80, I believe, because the Kim one was 79. Yeah, 79. So this is number 80. Wow, already at 80. Which is quite a lot. Not quite as high as the Michael visits, which ended up being 120. But most likely, eventually, our podcast will be longer. Just it'll take a while before it gets to that point, because at the beginning, like I was doing a lot of them to make a lot of them at once and just like content machine, but now it's slowed down a bit. So usually it's just one like every few weeks, even though the scheduling is like actually, scheduled decent amount of time. Like apart from each other. Currently, I think it's 4 days apart from each other, but eventually it'll change to 6 just because it was easier. But yeah, anyway, let's begin. Welcome to our podcast, episode 80 on confinement. Finally, I get to speak about confinement because I delayed on this one a little bit because of me, trying to create my own version of confinement to keep the series alive beyond, Lord Bong's channel being gone. But obviously I'm going to talk about Lord Bong's one first. So spoiler warnings for, confinement. If you want to watch, the originals, I highly, recommend it. Obviously spoilers for my version that's, trying to continue Lord Bong's story, but obviously, it's also a mix with my story as well. So it's a half and half, but I'm also trying to stay faithful to the original confinement. But yeah, spoiler warning. So if you haven't, go watch the originals. The originals are by far the best. Not saying that my version is bad. It's just a little bit different, inevitably there would be, some changes, and my kind of humor is improv humor, so it works better on if there's, more people, but it's a little bit harder when it's just myself, so I have to rely more on running gags for the humor than actual jokes. So I'm the person, to add more running gags than actual jokes. So yeah, but there'll probably be jokes, just not probably as many as I guess confinement. But yeah, let's talk about Lord Bong's first. So Lord Bong obviously is the original creator. And hi Sky, welcome to stream. Yeah, again, I'm live streaming these. So yeah, again, potentially, I could respond to anyone else watching, when it's live stream. But yeah, yeah. But yeah, Lord Bong, version, being the classic, the original, over 7 episodes and a few specials such as Only Us, Anomalies, Fine and Dandy, the Christmas one, Connor Against the Immortal Lizard, and the other one that was a part of but it was a part of episode 7. But yeah, that was a few different specials. Hopefully, I'm not missing any. I don't think I am. But yeah, confinement, had its, fair share of episodes before its end on episode 7, and it was just eternal waiting, it's understandable why it may have not come out in 2020 because of everything that happened, but then 2021 passed, no real news, then 2022, and then eventually 2023, where it was finally like the truth was revealed, and you know, Lord Bung deleted that channel, but luckily, people re-uploaded the videos, and obviously I've re-uploaded them as well onto my channel, so that they're here as well. So if you want to watch the originals, they are on my channel. Um, um, and yeah, but it was a classic series, and it's sad how things went, and that's why I wanted to, you know, make my own version to, continue it, continue the legacy, as, with my past losing, Rogers, like the original Rogers for quite some time. Rico and Blue are back now, like, but I don't know if they're going to play their original characters anytime soon. So yeah, please don't bug them. Uh, but hey, they're at least back, so that makes me happy. So even if they play different characters in the future, it doesn't matter to me as long as they're back. I don't really care, like as long as they're back, I'm happy. Like that's all I really wanted was them back. So yeah, um, so yeah, uh, uh, but yeah, so then after Lord Bung like deleted his channel, obviously there was re-uploads, and then I began formulating my version of confinement. So let's do a plot summary of Lord Bung's series to catch up. Here's the definite spoilers. So yeah, again, if you haven't already clicked off the video and don't want spoilers for Lord Bung's version or potentially my version, yeah, again, click off now. But here's a plot summary of what happened. So there's the immortal D-class Connor. He often deals with, situations for the Foundation, and it seems like there might be some sort of darker demon within him that it started to be hinted towards in like episode 5, like that there's potentially some dark demon or something within him, and eventually, more foreshadowing in like the IKEA thing, but nothing ever came of it. Nothing ever came of it because obviously Lord Bung quit. So yeah, that's where I was like decided to take up the matter of trying to continue the series. But yeah, Connor had a girlfriend named Natalie Powers. He also had dealings with other characters like Dr. Wilson and Dr. Hilda. Obviously, I had to use those two for, my series. Same as Nally, but she's going to appear later on. She did appear a little bit in episode 8, but only briefly. We'll get to that when I get to that. Yeah. So yeah. And Connor deals with like many SCPs and yeah. And has made friends like Ian, who was previously the Anderson Robotics robot, SCP-1360, I believe. And yeah, also he had his friend Gilbert, and yeah. Yeah. But, yeah, Connor didn't exactly have a great life. And he just wanted to be, normal, like, in the end of the day, like, he just wants to be normal eventually, and yeah. But now let's get to my continuation of the story. So my story, picks up basically right off where it left, which the first thing I did was to do episode 8. Finally, do the episode 8. Finally, try and, do the thing, Lord Bong was building up to but never delivered. So I had to, try and deliver that. Hopefully, it will live up to some people's expectations. Obviously, not everyone's, but, that's the thing. Like, once someone else takes control of, something, like, it'll never be quite the same. The same magic is never there, like, how, like, Rogers died when, it was no longer played by Riku. So my version, even though, it was similar to the original Rogers, I, tried to keep the same jokes and stuff. My version of Rogers can never live up to, the heights of, Riku. Like, Riku was, the best Rogers, like, absolute genius at, making funny improv stuff. Well, I'm just like, I don't know how to do Rogers other than make him very random, like, so, like, I can do a good job at Rogers, but I'm not, like, Rogers, the ideal Rogers, and I guess that sort of applies to, confinement. Like, I can, keep the same running gags and, like, try and keep it faithful to the original confinement and, try and do all these things to, try and make it as similar to the original as possible. But nonetheless, I am not Lord Bung, and I will never have, that same spark as Lord Bung. So, like, it will never have the same magic. But yeah, but yeah, but everything, like, was, you know, was focused on episode 8. Like, I had to focus on 8 more than any other episode. Like, it was the thing that needed to get the ball running. I mean, that also kind of, applied to episode 1 of season 2 and episode 2 of season 2, but I'll get to those when I get to those. So, the plot, as far as I could gather from the trailer of Lord Bung, is that Connor would have some sort of dealing with the salesman, because it was called episode 8, the salesman. That looked like there was some like mushroom gang in an alleyway. Yeah, again, I would bring that idea. Also, a joke version of Amazon called Anomazon, which I also used, and it also looked like there was like some torrents like thing in the trailer. Also, at some point, there was like a guy presumably called Messy Boy by his bib that he had on him in a boxing ring that seemingly would be boxing against Connor for some reason, and obviously the start bit of that trailer being like the ep4 just being, absolutely douchebags, and taking away the funding from the ethics committee to put into the like more soldiers and stuff. And yeah, not to mention, the foreshadowing at the end of 7 that something would happen to Nally Powers, which, yeah, again, I did do in my version of 8, but I'll get to that. But yeah, there wasn't a lot to go off of since it was only a 2-minute trailer. So it was like 1 minute of actually, substantial content. And then like, like 30 seconds of teaser content. Oh yeah, there was also the Plague Doctor and Lord Bung's thing, like with what looked like the Plague Doctor potentially like injecting something, and like his mask was a lot more like ornate in Lord Bung's version. Like it looked like it had like gold and stuff on it. But yeah, I would use those tiny nuggets of ideas for episode 8, and then later for episode 3 of my, season 2. But yeah, let's talk about, the actual plot of my episode 8. Obviously, since Lord Bung never got to do it. So my episode 8 is, Connor, has to deal with the salesman. Like, he gets a mission. There's also some references to, my series for obvious reasons, since, I've taken over. So, I want to allude to, what's about to come, allude to, the fact that, now Michael's here, it's going to be a merged timeline sort of thing. Because I don't know how far I would be able to go with the idea without, me. Because certainly I could do, episode 8 and what I did in episode 3, but beyond that, if I didn't combine the series, like, what would I do? Like, yeah, I could have done what I did in episode 4 as well, like and be like more generic with it than actually tying it to my season. Again, I'll talk about episode 4 when I get to it. I'm just being vague right now for, not to spoil it. But yeah, like the most I would have had is, 3 episodes, and then that would be it. Maybe 3 episodes of ideas, and then it would definitely have to be my own ideas. So it was just easier for it to become a part of, my universe. And it allowed for, interesting situations, which we'll get to later. But let's finally talk about, episode 8. Well, I started talking about it, but yeah, let's actually talk about what happened. So, yeah, Connor has to deal with the salesman. She's been planted with trackers by the plague doctor, so I used that little nugget of the plague doctor being involved in some way in that episode. Obviously Dr. Wilson was there. Michael was there. Eventually, Connor does the mission, hit one of his arms get taken by the salesman for a deal of freedom, and I forget what the other thing was. I think it was like freedom and wisdom or something like that I said, to allude to the fact that eventually Connor will be free because of Michael. So does that mean, because the salesman, is kind of reality bending, does that mean salesman indirectly is at least somewhat responsible for, Michael reforming the foundation? And I guess the only answer to that question is technically yes. So, yeah, the salesman is the true reason the foundation reformed, but not really. It's kind of, a mixture of, Michael and also the Book of Lies, because the Book of Lies did a lot of things secretly in the background. Things that will never be revealed. Like, what did he do? Like, the only thing that I ever implied that I ever directly implied was that the Book of, well, actually, I think I just told it outright, was that the Book of Lies took the powers of the O5 Council, and that's why it was so easy to kill the O5 Council, because they didn't have any powers because of the Book of Lies. But yeah, yeah, but yeah, Connor, loses an arm, but it will ruin the salesman's business kinda with his employers. By his employers, he kind of be unemployed for the most part, but one of his last orders from them was to sell Ghosto, which is where he would go. And yeah, which I do need to do more of the salesman at some point, actually like explain that, because there's kind of a contradiction, because yeah, again, my episode 8 takes part in, 2020 before the salesman goes to Noir, because originally what I said with the salesman is that his employers you know made him sell Ghosto, but from confinement, the salesman himself said that his unemployment, like not having his higher ups anymore, like he didn't have anywhere else to go, so he started selling Ghosto. So I do need to fix that at some point. A small mistake on my part with, my salesman lore so far. But, yeah. Anyway, eventually Connor returns to find the mysterious evil Foundation member, who eventually is like, we've captured Natalie and you're gonna be our puppet and slave, Connor. Like, very dark Foundation thing with them administering amnestics to Connor to keep him under control, and make him like a slave to the Foundation. The ending literally having the In the Pines song, was just, that ultimate masterstroke. Like, this has to be the ending song. It's so fitting, it's such a, sad ending, and basically if Michael had never reformed the Foundation, Connor would be technically forever their slave and their puppet, which is kind of funny enough, almost a similar fate that befell Michael, because he was also, administered amnestics by, the Foundation, and was controlled by the Foundation for some time. Like if it wasn't for, I think it was the Chaos Insurgency, like him kind of teaming up with the Chaos Insurgency, he would have never remembered. So yeah, Michael almost befell, the same fate as Connor, but luckily, fate was on Michael's side, because obviously it couldn't just end with Michael, being controlled forever, especially since back then when I was doing, Michael the SEP God, the early episodes, it was still when Rogers was, continuing, because it was, that episode happened before Michael killed the O5, which I told to, Detective Blue when, back when Detective Blue played the character. It's always funny, the name of my friend, Detective Blue, the name of the character, Detective Blue. It's just funny. It's the funniest thing. It's literally that one joke where, are you talking about Detective Blue, the person or the character? And all the person says is yes in response, and it's very unclear. It is literally just that meme. Anyway, but yeah, episodes 8 of my version is very dark, and I kind of wanted it to be that way, like a dark ending fitting, or the real life where the ending itself, seven being the ending, is kind of abrupt. But obviously it doesn't stop with just 8. So now I'm going to talk about season 2 of my version, the beginning of a new series. So the first episode, named The Shift, is during the period of Michael taking over. Basically, the civil war of the Foundation, when Michael was taking over, like, the ethics committee was scrambling to, keep people loyal to them, like with the '05 council dead, it was a time of chaos, and a time that I haven't actually covered a lot of, um, like, in my series. I mean, it was kind of there for 3 episodes of, Michael the SCP guard, when Michael was fighting against the ethics committee, but like otherwise it wasn't really ever shown in detail, like that chaos. So showing a bit more of the chaos, and I've made more hints to what happened during that Civil War period, where the Foundation was in shambles because of what Michael had just achieved, what many people didn't even think was possible was achieved by seemingly a normal MTF card. So, yeah, it was quite a time for the Foundation. And, the Foundation was in chaos. But yeah, so the shift, takes place during those events. And, Connor and Wilson have to get out alive. And then also it shows, our times where Connor and Michael talked, and then eventually gets up to, the present of 2023 at the time. But, our podcast will be in 2024. Yeah. Uh, 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 yeah. So yeah, all that chaos happens, and Connor, you know, survives it thanks to his parents. So does Dr. Wilson, but he doesn't have powers. Uh, uh, and yeah, but yeah, the shift is quite a simple episode. It's just showing that literal shift from where Connor's timeline enters my timeline, and it combines together. Um, then episode 2 of my series is the reunion, when Connor gets to reunite with his old friends like Ian, Gilbert, and Dr. Hilda, and oh, also gets to talk to Dr. Wilson, but it's not really a reunion when Dr. Wilson still is, at the Foundation, where Dr. Hilda left the Foundation. But, it is still going to be appearing periodically through the series, like in episode 2, and also the confinement special that I did, but I'll get to that when I get to that. But yeah, episode 2 is mainly that, and Also Michael got to reunite with someone being SEP, I forget the number, but it's the old man from nowhere. Like, it's unknown, like, like where he comes from, and yeah. And I gave him the name Matthew, which is, now thinking about it, is, the name of the peanut for SCP's Secret Labs. So, I think it's going to stick. I think, the name's going to stick, that I use Matthew for him instead of the peanut. The peanut will never be referred to as Matthew. It's always going to be the peanut, unless he changes form to the tripod, or changes form to the walnuts, which is what I'm probably going to call this Secret Lab version of him. But yeah, yeah, he's forever the peanut. But yeah, it's fitting that is one of the other SCPs take the name of Matthew. So yeah, it's more fitting for, him, a human, to get, proper names. So yeah. But yeah, also the salesman appears, which is where that contradiction I mentioned earlier comes in, where it's like, but I'll have to fix that later at some point. So I don't know when I'll be able to fix that, but I'll fix that at some point. And it's not that much of a retcon. It'll just be like the ghost. So yes, it was while he did it while being unemployed, but it was like his final order from the businessman. That way it, doesn't conflict as much. It's not a full retcon, but it's fixing the two things together where it makes sense. But anyway, that's yeah, again, for the future. Anyway, yeah, so episode 2's, reunion, fairly simple episode. Episode 3 is the Battle of the Anomazon Corporation, where I finally get to use Anomazon and the Mushroom Gang and all those themes of what seem to be potentially maybe gangsters and a corporation potentially at war, even though that's only literally based off the one thing where there was that turret thing shooting, which since I couldn't get a turret that looked similar, I just used a different robot, being the murder drones, which I think ended up being a funnier joke, because I called them initially murder androids as one character, but the other character called them murder drones. Murder drones sounds like a bad name, and it was such a good joke. Especially since the music of murder drones cued right as I said it, because the NPC had music with it. So yeah, it was just perfect joke. It's just it was one of those just perfectly timed jokes. It couldn't have been timed better. It was such an unintentional thing, but improv is very good for unintentional jokes. That's what I do the best, is unintentional things that are just perfectly merged. But yeah, Connor obviously joins the Anomazon Corporation, but eventually, becomes part of the gangsters and overthrows the Anomazon Corporation. But, the remnants of that corporation will join, join the gangsters, and they joined and the gangsters joined the payday gang, which I hinted, mentioned that, in one of my shorts, hey payday gang, how's the mushroom gang going, even though the mushrooms are dead, but how are they going, I mentioned that in character. So yeah, it's canonical that the underground joined the payday gang in some form or fashion. And but Connor basically, goes through multiple things. Also, first thing with his inner demons, the dark one for, I guess, this season, and that would be built upon more later, but I'll get to that. I talk about episode 4, but then it was my first confinement special, the Christmas one. So yeah, definitely cool to have that. Definitely cool thing to have. But yeah, Connor just enjoying his first true Christmas, although he had his first Christmas in the other special, the one made by Lord Bung, but he didn't really get to celebrate it. He became a gingerbread man and got eaten, so I don't exactly count that as a proper true first Christmas, one that he actually gets to celebrate. So yeah, uh, 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 yeah, his true first one was my special. But yeah, not much happened there. But episode 4, the reveal of the Dark One, and it was a living darkness creature, just because it made most sense, and also, that, that weird cult where as I'm calling them, the cult of the void, or the church of the void, called their master the Lord of the Void, and I was like, this is perfect. This is perfect. I will make Connor's demon, the one void-born living darkness creature, and his older brothers, the original living darkness itself, but he led the younger brother, Connor's demon, led them to Vertigo to create the living darkness, and that there also was the big battle and all that, and it was quite an episode, and quite a bit of lore for that episode, and that's Connor's journey so far. So halfway through season 2, which is technically, my first, season of doing it. But, it is what it is, and yeah. But yeah, that's the story so far. And yeah. But yeah. Yeah. But obviously I like Lord Bungs a lot. Not that I dislike, my version. Like, obviously I'm putting a lot of passion into it to make it, you know, you know, close to the original, as faithful to the originals as possible, but obviously things will inevitably change. But yeah, I guess that's it for confinement. So yeah, I like confinement a lot. Obviously, now that I'm doing it, I'm very passionate about it, and yeah, pretty cool. And one thing I just realized, like, since this is, a new computer, I don't have the original image for our podcast thing. So I'm going to have to take a new one. So, yeah, that means the thumbnail will probably be ever so slightly different from this episode 4 just because of my new computer, and I forgot to save the original because I didn't even think about it until just now. So yeah. And since I don't have it saved and it was on my old computer, I guess now forever our podcast image is going to be slightly changed for the foreseeable episodes that are just me solo. But yeah, I guess I have to go take a picture in VR chat now. But yeah, thank you all for watching this episode of our podcast on confinement. And yeah, see you all next time for whatever the next one is. Yeah, I think the next one's going to be possibly the llamas with hats. So yeah. Yeah, that should be the next one. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Peace. Alright, now I go take a picture in VR chat. But yeah, I guess I'll start concluding stream. Thank you all for, watching the stream. Thank you if you subscribed. I'll be back most likely tomorrow to stream with Sky. We'll be doing Halo. And yeah, yeah, that will be it for stream, just as, I load and to head to, our podcast set to take a new photo I can't speak. POV, you're going to Brazil. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Literally hanged, Brazil, but even more than Brazil, it's space Brazil. I suppose. Yeah. Yeah. God damn the settings thing. It's so annoying. Like, very annoying. Anyway, thank you all for watching. And peace until next time.